Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the CRWS Counter Racist review on Atlanta Season 3, Episode 4, Big Payback. So just getting right into the episode. We begin here in the very beginning with the main suspected racist character here, not this white lady, but this white man here on the screen listening to a podcast, and I suspect the podcast and the person on the screen here is possibly a suspected racist. Due to the content playing, they're talking about the wildlife, and then the wildlife becomes them talking about the wild talk, and that just for me was code for non-white black people. The beginning podcast section, and then also while this is playing with and then showing the black male on the screen as well. It's very refined racist programming, I think. Yeah, if I was getting what I'm saying about the beginning of the episode.
He was also giving him a very anti-sexual, feverish look.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely saw the way he was looking at at the non-white people as the episode went on. And yeah, this episode was really I don't know, I suspect let's go to the someone asked earlier who are the writers. That's a good question. Hmm. Probably find out IMWB very easily.
Her name was Francesca Sloan, I think it was her name.
Oh, yeah. This was like some sort of black,
Dream World.
like black fantasy. Like
Yeah.
this is nowhere near reality. This is nowhere near how black people are um are are thinking. I suspect, yeah, we are talking about reparations, but I don't know how many of us are going about asking individual white people for money, which we
Right.
definitely should be doing. But I think that is another incorrect aspect of this episode, is that it's trying to it's portraying non-white black people going after individual white people, and not the system of white supremacy. And
Right.
yeah, it's not calling out the entire system of white supremacy, but individual white people. And it's really painting like slavery, the slavery phase of white supremacy as being like something they have to make a man for, and not the entire system of white supremacy racism. So the episode is really whack just because of that. That it's a highly fantasy delusional piece of like content. It's just, and Shaniqua, I'm just did the this episode 4. I have yet to see any dark skinned black people on this show portrayed constructively at all. I don't know if you've seen any black people portrayed constructively besides maybe some of the main cast. I'm making some logical decisions every now and then, but other than that, we haven't seen any dark skinned people solving problems constructively, I suspect. And and I say that because think about the character Shanika and how she was portrayed in this film. I mean, in this episode, just portrayed to be a very, very annoying character, just very annoying. Just everything it means to not practice black self-respect, not in the best shape, not wearing their own, not wearing someone else's hair and not their own that comes out of their head, and just be just really, really, really like just wow. If they're portraying images of black females like this around the planet 24/7, no wonder there's so much animosity towards people classified as black. Um, yeah, this is refined propaganda right here. This character, and her name is Shaniqua. It really can't be any in your face in that. I think, naming a character Shaniqua in 2022, you're really you're saying something, and what you're saying is that yeah, black people are very stereotypical, and yeah, we got black people figured out. I may be wrong in thinking this way, but when I hear the name Sharika, Tyrone, Jamal in cinema and television, that's code for black people, and that's code that the people behind this stuff are not confused, or are they very, very confused. And I think the black people involved in this television show is very confused. I think the white people are having a huge laugh at the confusion they're able to partake in and help get um, spread across the planet by helping to produce this show. And I'll pause my mic for there, see if folks want to chime in.
Yeah, pretty much while the episode was going, like I found an article. I did post it in the WhatsApp, so y'all can check it out after this. But the actual title of this article was Atlanta season 3 is about the curse of whiteness. Stephen and Donald Glover said. If that's not confusion. Wow. The curse of whiteness. What does that mean? So pretty much that's like the whole thing throughout season 3. The actual curse of being white.
Speaking of curses,
Hold on, before we even use their confused terminology, we have to have a consensus of what curse means, because yeah, my understanding of being cursed just to mean, hey, you're a non-white person. So I don't know what they mean by curse. So anybody want to try to tackle what Donald Glover is meaning by white curse?
well, perhaps now I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there, but it may be the curse of no longer having to look over their shoulder, no longer having to burn midnight oil. From perhaps a white supremacist standpoint, he can't really rest. And maybe he's tired. Maybe that's what he meant. The curse is lifted. I was going to comment on that scene also. That seems like the same character from what was it, like the second episode that was sitting in the boat with the black male?
First episode.
Yes, sir. It's the first episode, and I had that same observation, and we are correct. This is the same person.
Right, both drinking that dark substance. Kind of appearing to come clean about racism, appearing to. Yeah, that's all I have from that one. And I kind of thought that he was going to kill himself. Something just my counter racist senses were just tingling. Just something just told me he was going to off himself. If he could no longer practice white supremacy, there's just bow. I just knew it.
Yep. He man Friday'd himself. He couldn't practice racism anymore, so he man Friday'd himself, killed himself. And this episode, that reminds me, this episode is also presenting white people to be feeling like guilty to the point of they're crying about racism, slavery, or something. This is totally absurd. White people are not.
I think they're crying because they're gonna lose their wealth. I genuinely don't think they were crying because they cared about black people.
Possibly.
I concur. Like somebody's taking a spoiled child's toys away. That's the way I interpret it.
Yeah, because like even when he was in the car. He was listening to all of that programming, and then, you know, as soon as it got to where they was talking about, like, you know, the whole Paula cheese, he started getting, like, you know, real irritated about that. So and then he just ended up turning it off. So yeah, like this was just tacky, man. Like all the way through. Just like, I don't know what this means.
Oh,
Watching this
yeah.
episode.
Yeah, and then there's also some insight into the racer's mind in this scene, because he's driving, right, and he sees some black people in a blue Lamborghini, and you
Yep.
know, his immediate thought is like, wow, look at these black people in this Lamborghini. They probably got this from you know, from some poor white person who has to pay them some retro reparations, you know, some one-on-one reparations or whatever the hell this episode is portraying reparations as. You know, they can't just have a blue Lamborghini without white people giving it to them, which is also true. White people do produce, control the production of Lamborghinis. But I just thought it was interesting, something easily missed if you're not paying attention.
Did Natalie kind of remind anyone of Kris Jenner? And when they were having the discussion on the porch, you know, he said, "You were white yesterday," and they kind of just,
yeah, that's how it works. That's how these racial classifications operate. Especially,
Yeah, I was like Jew, Nordic, Hungarian, Peruvian. I'm like I'm pretty sure that all of these people look white. So, you know, just to be throwing that out as if that's, you know, something to just say, like, that was just ridiculous.
Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting as well. It seemed like, you know, around those scenes, everybody was doing their best not to be a white person. You know, everybody wanted, you know, kind of wanted to start proving that they were somehow mistreated or being mistreated like black people, that they're not a white person. In that scene with this female, I think she immediately wanted to distance herself from anything white. She saw that white no longer has value, so she had no use for it. Even when she said, you know, I don't want my finances to take a hit, you know, because now you since you're a white person, your resources, you don't have any resources for me. That's kind of what I was getting from that.
I feel like this
Oh,
episode.
sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say, I feel like this episode is supposed to be like a white person's kind of like a nightmare or something, and I think that's why all the black characters are supposed to be like exaggerated. The Shaniqua, and then even when they're at the he's at work, and the guy, did you hear the conversation between the two black males? They were talking about their different baby mamas that they have to buy houses for with the money that they're gonna get, and how they're getting their kid a new phone, and like they're gonna either get yeah, but the specific cars, they said it was like very stereotypical. They were either gonna get like a Tesla or like something very like cars that like are associated
Range
with like
Rover,
black
probably.
people. What'd you say?
Range Rover, probably.
I don't think it was a Range. I can't remember, but I just thought that,
Or the Cadillac.
yeah, something like that. Like,
Yeah.
and I felt like this episode was supposed to be some sort of, you know, like what white people kind of think black people are doing, but unfortunately, like they're not even doing this, which is the bare minimum. But that's what I thought.
Yeah, earlier 05 said it's like a black fantasy, but for me, I think it's more like, you know, like a white nightmare, or what white people think is like going to be happening. Or this kind of seems like like something to motivate or to inform white people about like reparations or what could possibly happen with reparations for Black people. That's what, I don't. I think that this is more for white people.
I think that is very logical perspective.
The scene-
Also, oh, sorry, go ahead, Ray.
no, sir, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, going back to that guy Ernest, when he shot himself, I thought it reminds me that of white people's unwillingness to uh, produce justice. So for me, I think he would rather shoot himself in the head than watch a system of justice be produced, watch Black people gain some type of power, etc., whatever that means. But that's what I was thinking when he shot himself, because under a system of racism, white people absolutely do not want to produce a system of justice. So I think if it ever comes to that, just like the Black waiter, the Black male, he said, I wrote it down. There's more where that came from. So I think he essentially is saying, there's going to be a lot more white people shooting themselves because they would rather shoot themselves than, I guess, kind of lose to Black people, lose the power that they have or the control over Black people that they have.
Yeah, because I mean, if the true debt was paid, like the country couldn't even function, like, because it's so much money and it's so much like land and it's so much like wealth. So I think that they know that more than I think Black people know, because Black people are comfortable with accepting a small amount, like a couple thousand, 25,000, even 100,000. But the true debt is like in the trillions, like basically the GDP of America. Not to mention that it happened in, like the lady who said I'm Peruvian, like the slave trade happened in South America, right? Why are there Black people in South America, right? So I thought that part was very interesting that she even said that, because it doesn't absolve her. Just like the lady who said she's Ashkenazi Jew, that just means a European Jewish person. What does that have to do with owning slaves or not? Right? She's not a Jewish person from like Ethiopia. So I thought that was very interesting how they use these different categories to confuse the truth. Or even him saying, I'm Austro-Hungarian, the Byzantine Empire enslaved us. It's like, what does that have to do with Black people? Shouldn't you take that up with whoever is where Byzantine used to be? Like, I think that's very interesting.
During that scene, I was like, okay, well, she says Jews were slaves. And then when he brings the whole Hungarian thing, she says, well, that was years ago. I mean, like to me, that just felt as though he was the he was the Black person in the argument, and basically she was the white person, and pretty much like just say for example he brings up my like parents and grandparents were in slavery, and then she says that was years ago. So to me, it felt as though they wanted us to look at him and give him empathy based on that, and I'm like, get out of here with that, man. Like, no. It's just a ridiculous episode.
I think when Ash said Black people will settle for next to nothing almost. I don't think those were the exact words, but he even had the scene where the white male's wearing the T-shirt, and that's all he has to do, right? It's just wear the T-shirt. One of the days has to be Sunday. I thought that was interesting as well.
I thought something I noticed was that this white person we see on the screen right now, who was calling herself an Ashkenazi Jew, but still functioning as a racist suspect. I think it's really interesting that behind her it says superior shrimp. You know, superior shrimp. You know, she's really something. You know, I guess the company they're working for is called Superior Shrimp. Yeah.
That's a good catch.
Yeah, it's something that could be coded. I suspect this.
The white man who had on the "I own slaves" T-shirt, was he armed?
Yeah. Go to that one, man.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, it was.
I know it's
It's maybe about 10, 11 minutes in. Probably.
It was right before the last scene that you had up.
oh, here it is.
Yep, right there. I own slaves.
Yeah, I'm like, if this is the compensation for the system of racism and white supremacy being established and maintained for so many for so much time, then wow, it's absolutely nothing. If this is what white people are afraid of, pathetic, and this is what non-white people are okay with accepting, you know, also pathetic. Yeah, not the compensation we should be asking for at all. Wear a T-shirt that said you own slaves, even though you really didn't own slaves in the manner that chattel slavery was practiced. So it's just more deceit. I think it's just more deceit, and refined racism.
Yeah, even the
Can I
white
pose-
woman said, "Go ahead, sorry."
I just want to pose a question, just really quick.
No problem.
If white people went as far as to just really not mistreat anyone, non-white people, white people, what have you, would you all still really ever trust them?
No,
I cannot guarantee that they would even be on this planet as a race. So
Yeah.
I think that's how they have been able to exist as a race.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? When we talk about, oh, here's an excellent little segue, but when we talk about money, reparations, you know what I'm saying, all that shit, like, there's no amount of money that they can give. There's really nothing that they can do because so much has been lost and so much has been cut off from us. You know, we don't even know. There's information that they would never just, I mean, it's a lot of shit that's lost. Like they can never repay that debt. But
Right.
the scene where he was sitting in the break room, the cold soda, and I kind of decoded that as code ADOS, you know, and I kind of, you know, that stuck out to me since, you know, they're talking about slaves and reparations and all like that. I don't know if anyone else saw that.
Didn't catch that. Wow.
That's another good one. Hey, learned that in Race Code War. Word scramble, but also too to what Ray was saying about you know, there not really being anything that they can do to compensate Black people on the planet, non-white people. I think that this episode and kind of what I've been seeing a lot is they are pushing a lot for this monetary value to be placed on reparations, you know, a dollar amount. And I think that that is absolutely incorrect. I think that that is practicing racism, deceiving and confusing non-white people into believing that they can be compensated for the atrocities that white people have committed on the planet. So if you notice in this episode, you know, Black people are mainly only talking about money, putting dollar sign. The Black person that sued Tesla won 50 million. The lady's asking for 3 million. Nobody's asking for to produce a system of justice. Nobody's asking for justice. Everybody's asking for money. That's something I've
And
seen
Black
a
people
lot.
need to realize.
a lot of spending too.
Black people need to realize it's not about the money. It's about the time and energy. A lot of Black people are looking for the white supremacists to give them this monetary break off. Let's say, for instance, this happens. The white supremacists, okay, we'll give them monetary reparations. And then the next week, paper money as we know it goes out and Bitcoin is now in. And now Black people have billions and billions of dollars in funny money. Then,
I mean, oh yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what they did
then what?
now.
They'll say, we paid you, but you know,
Yeah.
we can't control the currency. See, we don't understand. It's currencies. It is what's current. At one point, you know, currencies around the planet were coins, and now it's dollars. At one point, you know, people were using checks. Now it's debit cards. Now it's about to go to cryptocurrency. It's what's current. You know, people are money. Black people are money.
NFTs.
You know, it's about the time and energy. It's not about the money. There's no amount of money that they can pay us.
I think that's a really, really, really great point, Ray. And I think there's an even small example of that in that they gave people money during COVID and now they raised the prices for everything. It's no coincidence that people were quitting their jobs and had a little bit of money and now everything is increased in prices. It's set up that way.
Inflation.
Yeah. And
The cost of white supremacy is too high.
They're setting up these wars so that the dollar means nothing anymore. So yeah, I agree. That's a great point.
Remember
There's only one war,
when
the war of racism and white supremacy. Everything else is just battles within the giant war of racism and white supremacy. But I understood.
Remember when Ernest said, "We'll be okay"? Could this not also be what he means? We'll be okay. We're just have to give them money. We're not going to have to give them any resources like land or anything where we're not manipulating or sabotaging anything. We're not going to be forced to teach them how to at least be as knowledgeable about using these resources like we are. Because when I see reparations, I mean, we need to be on the path to universal man, universal woman, where we can be dropped off in the desert and know how to build a civilization. Like, I know how to get water, I know how to get food, I can build a small settlement for myself, and I'll be fine for the rest of my life. They're not doing that. They're like, just give them this stuff, let them do what they've been programmed to do, and then we'll get the stuff back. So that's the way I kind of interpret it when he said, your daughter will be okay. That's just the way I saw it. Because you notice the Black people didn't change. They're, like someone said, they're spending their money. They're sitting in the restaurant. They're not, okay, I got this money. Now I can learn, I can use the money to learn how to do stuff, learn how to get my own resources, and learn how to do things more constructively.
Yeah, like I even thought that scene was just tacky. I'm like, okay, so is this now white slave labor? Like, you know, of him serving non-white people? So, yeah, again, this whole episode was a big joke for white people, in my opinion.
Maybe this is a parody also on white people being indentured servants.
That could be correct.
Hey, did you all notice the differences in the interactions when the white father, white daughter is eating spaghetti versus when the black mother, black son was eating spaghetti?
I mean, for one, they're sitting together, and he's serving.
You know, no sexual undertones, when we all know that their history is quite the contrary.
Another thing that's really important is that money, this is something that, well, paper money, the money that we know it as 2022. White people definitely print all of that and control the production of all of that across the planet. So we cannot be confused to believe that money is gonna amend the woes of racism, white supremacy. Yeah, we definitely need like a system of justice produced, guaranteeing no one the laws being mistreated and those who need help receive constructive help. Our reparation needs to be in a form of similar to what constructive action items suggested. Us being able to sustain ourselves and us being provided with correct education, correct housing, and correct health, until we're able to maintain without the assistance of racist men and racist women. But this is what we need to be attempting to get from racist men and racist women: a place to dwell, a place to learn, and a place to have good health. And health includes good food as well. So not money, because you get money, maybe driving around a blue Lamborghini, like what we saw in this episode, which is not constructive. I think it's not even a 4-door.
And she's getting 15% of his waiter money.
Oh yeah.
Like, what is that?
That's nothing. That's
so
crumbs.
Yeah, that was.
I had said that to Salt. I was like, it's like 15%. That's it. And so yeah, again, another tacky moment.
And did he decrease his pay? Sorry, go ahead.
Not the tips.
Yeah.
The tips withheld from the tax.
Which means that that's probably 15% of below minimum wage income. So what is that for her?
So
she has multiple kids.
So if
like
it's
what?
$3 an hour he's getting paid, she's getting what, 45 cents an hour?
Not to mention it's probably split amongst her siblings because it's from one heir. It's just so silly, honestly.
If Mr. Akanfu Yawu is still with us in the chat, he says, reminds me of Darren Beans and his sequel to Melanin Apocalypse. They all do that. I didn't know he had a sequel to Melanin Apocalypse. Let me see. What's the sequel called? Melanin Apocalypse 2,
It was
probably?
the White Odyssey.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a sequel to Melanin Apocalypse, but
yeah, that was on his second visit. Yeah, it was the White Odyssey book. Yep.
Makes sense. After all the black people are apocalypsized, whatever that means, probably killed off or something like that, there's an odyssey after that. Makes sense. But thank you, Mr. Kafu Yawu. Definitely urge folks to check out Context of White Supremacy, the cows on Black Talk Radio. Definitely can learn an infinite amount of race and white supremacy solely through that broadcast. So yes. Um, yeah, the with the car scene, I thought it was very entertaining. I wonder how many of those conversations actually do go down with white children actually wanting to know if their parents
Racist.
actually practice racism directly, like overtly, like mom, dad, have you ever burned a black person alive? Or mom and dad, have you ever hanged a black person and chopped off their penis and pickled it? I wonder how many of those questions are being asked by a racist child. I'm pretty sure it has happened at least once because children are curious creatures. Um, but yeah, just attacking this of having to exist in a system where these things are happening, and I wonder how white people practice deceit to keep the system going because they have to practice deceit in order to get these white children to get to the business of helping their fellow racists maintain the system. So yeah, just super tacky. Racist child is very, very important in maintaining the system because racist child eventually becomes racist man and racist woman, and those are the people in charge. So yeah.
I suspect that's a teaching moment for a racist child. They get asked a question, an opportunity for a racist man, racist woman to teach them about how the system works and their role in it. That's what I suspect. I thought one recurring theme on this episode was what do white people talk about when there are no black people around? Saw that multiple times, especially in the workplace. Multiple times.
Great point. It reminds me of when he's trying to talk to his child, and then he's like, black people are, he doesn't even have anything to say constructively about black people. He has no words to describe what's happening with the race problem because it's that bad. Maybe it's that white people don't want to discuss the race problem because it threatens their business of possibly. But that's what I got from this scene. That's what I got from here. One of the things I got from here.
Yeah, when they're at work, it's like they're scheming and planning, talking about how they really feel about what's going on right now. But for me, that seemed like planning and scheming. What are we going to do about this problem? How are we going to move together as a collective? Are we all on the same page about this?
And look how quickly they start splintering and selling each other out when it comes to like their actual material conditions being changed. It's very interesting.
Do you all remember in the WhatsApp maybe a couple days ago, someone was talking about the Georgia Guidestones and how it has to stay below a certain number?
I remember that. Continue.
Hey, what if, I'm just throwing this out there as usual, white people can't talk about racism because then that would be them, what I'm saying, taking the cover off how they could pull off such an elaborate scheme with them being 1/10 of the world's population. Because if someone on the outside was just looking at Earth, white people would be looking like these logical beings who's trying to fix the planet, and these non-white people are just out of whack. They're stupid, silly, primitive, and pitiful. I very much believe that the white supremacists know something about the unknown universe to non-white people that we don't know. Because what's the point in having us around? What purpose do we serve?
Tragically, I suspect racist man and racist woman, they know a lot more about the unknown Andy known compared to non-white people because they stole all that information from us when we were less confused about the planet, and then they retarded us. So yeah, they're definitely in the lead in terms of who is less confused and knowledgeable about the workings of this universe and planet. And maybe they have discovered some things that say, hey, we don't really have much of a feature outside of this planet we found ourselves on. So, this business of white supremacy is all we really have to to exist with. But I may be in error.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Is that a picture of him in a diaper in front of a Taco Bell?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think he's wearing like something football players wear or sumo
like a
wrestlers.
jock
I do
strap
not
thing?
know.
Like a jock strap thing with crutches on. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, this whole photography here is super effeminate. We're just gonna go through the pictures really quick. Super effeminate, and he's comparing himself to Willy Wonka and liking himself to Willy Wonka is super suspicious to me. But maybe he's just very confused and white identified. But yeah, very effeminized, tragically.
Yeah, going back to the article that I had posted in the WhatsApp, pretty much this is Donald in quotes from this article. He says, when you are from the South and you are American, especially, you see things differently. He continued. And I think white people have blind spots, obviously, to race and things that are going on, and they are affected by this too. It's not just Black people who are going through it and having a hard time. You are actually affected by it too. So I think the first episode does a perfect job of showing how both sides are affected by this. I'll mute.
I think it's much more accurate to say that white people are annoyed by it, not affected. I think white people want non-white people, especially Black people, to just stop talking about racism, remain confused about it, because if that's how things go, then I can go on and keep practicing racism and act like everything's hunky dory, everything's great.
Do you guys understand what he means by the first episode showing how white people are affected by
I don't remember watching an episode and thinking that those two white women were affected by racism.
Yeah, like what? That's interesting. I guess because they were such psychopaths. Maybe, I don't know.
I guess them crying at the end and like pretty much like sacrificing themselves, but no, I don't believe they were affected at all.
I think they weren't sacrificing themselves. I think they were just psychopathic narcissists who, once their ego died, they had to physically die. And that's what I think.
I think Donald Glover is just a confused victim. Absolutely. Like myself, but the difference is he has been he's still confused in a manner where he has sympathy or empathy for racists who are practicing overt racism and white supremacy, but he just can't detect what's happening. If he's saying that the white mothers or whatever from episode 1 is an example of how white people are suffering in the system as well, then wow, his the way he understands what's happening and people's behavior seems to be not logical, because those two white women weren't suffering. They were racist terrorists. I may be in error though.
I think it's a perfect example of why Black people should not engage in tragic arrangements under the system of racism, white supremacy. I suspect that is a symptom of his tragic arrangement he's in, where he believes that white people, especially white women, for some reason, are suffering under the system. That also reminds me that in that episode too, it was like only the white males were kind of being targeted, right, for reparations, not white females. Now it was always the guy had to pay. Marshall was the one that was being pursued for money. The white male was the one wearing the T-shirt, but where are the white females? Where are the white females at? Where's their reparations? Are they paying it?
I agree, man. Again, good eye. This will be the last thing. So also, he's also quoted saying in this article, we had decided in the writers' room we wanted season 3 to be about white people, he said. And then we were like, we had to do research, like a lot of research. We had to really think not like us, which was really kind of cool because it gives you a really cool, interesting perspective on a lot of things. I felt like that was the most fun. Yeah, season 3 is really about, I guess, whiteness and curses, confusion.
Yeah.
It's so confusing that, like, I don't know, it's like, why does he keep saying it's really cool? It's like he doesn't know what to say or something. Like, is he being interviewed by a white person or something, and he's scared of saying something like that? Because it's like he when you say something's really cool and interesting, it basically means you're not saying anything about it. That's my opinion.
I believe that this was like a panel or something. So I'm not sure if he was like interviewed by just one white person. So yeah, I think it was just a panel.
If you I read a little bit of the other article that was on the screen where I guess he's interviewing himself, and he mentioned I guess he asked himself about like racism, and he said something about like he doesn't like talking about it unless it's with black people and we're laughing about it.
Yeah, yep.
So definitely thinks racism is a joke. Probably feels worse for white people than black people, non-white people under the system. Massive confusion. That's very unfortunate.
I'm not gonna tell you, can't even decode that academic. But yeah, I did catch that. Laughing about racism is exactly what racist men and racist women want, because they see us laughing about us being mistreated globally, worldwide, just because we're non-white. That's an indication to them that, hey, our business is doing just fine, and next year is looking to grow, and the year after that, and the year after that, we're just seeing more growth because these dark people don't have a clue. Look at them laughing at them being just totally retarded and victimized and confused and just led everywhere but to a constructive path.
Well, shall we sing our agony?
Well, he lives on a farm. I think maybe that's why he, is saying these things, because white people have allowed him to live on a farm and grow animals. And he said his cow is pregnant. So you can see why he says a lot of the things he says if he's allowed to cultivate. White people have allowed him to have land and cultivate these things.
Yeah, he has a lot of comfort, and I don't know if it has anything to do with this white-looking wife, or just white people have said, this Donald Glover guy, he's a victim of racism. We don't like him. He's still a black male. We still despise him because he's a black male. But we gotta give the black people some black people to look at, so they think that they can become so-called successful. So we'll give him Donald Glover. Let him live on a farm, make an Atlanta show, make them think that they could also be like Mr. Donald Glover one day. But
Yeah.
Racial
Oh,
Showcasing
five.
101. Go ahead.
Pretty much. I thought that she was white too. I just found out that this female is Asian.
So-called Asian.
Nah, she's
Yeah.
half Asian, she got a white.
Oh, she
Okay.
won. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I'm like, man, she looks like real racially ambiguous. So yeah,
yeah, she got a white parent. But what did you guys
not a
think
shock.
about him saying that they had to do a lot of research for this season? Like he almost had
He's
to
not.
research about racism for the show, which is what I suspected in the first episode.
Yeah, me
and which
too.
turned me off a lot about the first episode was that I felt like it was specifically made for the show and not actually something that he made genuinely care about the actual real child story. But I may be wrong, I may be projecting.
Yeah, that just goes to show that I think before his production of this show, he's probably even more confused about white people than he is now. I think he's probably just learning some things about the system. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he's less confused, but he just playing a really coded game, infiltrating them. I don't think so. I just think I think him having to do research is an indication, especially research on white people, is an indication that until now he's been not that suspicious of white people. He's been thinking white people are his friends or something like that.
Ally. Man, we was talking about that earlier. Ally. But yeah, again, like to me, him researching white people, yeah, again, it just sounds as though he was never suspicious of white people at all until they wanted to do this season. So again, confusion.
Yeah, because I thought all of the seasons were supposed to be about white people, but as I think back on it, I'm like, nah, most of them just are harrowing examples of the tacky, trashy, and tacky and terroristic situations that Black people have to exist under. But this show definitely has more. This season has more white people, but the substance is you can tell is very just
a downer.
Yeah, it's not something that was totally original and unique. This is something that was scientifically produced.
Yeah, it's not even like planned. Like watching this, it's not thought out. It's no like we're gonna do this, and this. It's no plan basically. Like it's just okay. We're just gonna find the most I guess most recent events that white people have done, and we're gonna like so-called analyze it. But again, I just think by him not being suspicious is what we just watched today. just a madness, man. Just madness.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we may have missed anything else from this episode.
I did like the part. I mean, in this scene, I thought it was interesting. The part when the white guy is talking to him about we're gonna actually have to try and build ourselves up by our bootstraps, and we're gonna actually have to like work. And then like right after that, he kills himself. Oh, it was very interesting. Kind of implies what I've always suspected is that white people have never really had to work, and they literally, like Ray was saying, see Black people as money, and they see them as their labor force. So I thought that part was interesting.
Yeah, like I said, I had wrote that down. I said white slave labor? Question mark.
Yeah, one thing about this scene too was when he said we made slavery a mystery, or we act like it's a mystery. I found that there was a few things he said that I actually found like that's kind of like a contradiction. I feel that white people parade slavery and they glorify it, and yeah, they just love it. It's romantical for them. They romanticize slavery. And everything associated with it. There's another one when he said we're gonna be okay. Obviously, shot himself. And like a constructive action items was saying, I guess they are gonna be okay if all they have to do is pay 15% of their wages. Let me see. There was one more. He said something also too, like that that's similar to the position we put them in. Trying to remember the relevance of that, but obviously by the end of this episode, they clearly are not in the same position that Black people have been put in. I mean, the guy at the end, he has a job. Many Black people are denied employment annually, systematically, whatever. He's still making a wage. I don't know if it's living or whatever. And there's a white guy running the like supervising, running all that staff. So I mean, did white people lose their power? I don't know if that's what the theme was. I wrote a question mark.
White people are still in charge even after these so-called reparations.
I think you make a really great point, Kweku, about the romanticization of slavery. Like, they do not try to hide it, or it's not something that they can think about when they want to. It's something that they're constantly thinking about. And it reminded me of, the actors Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. They got married on a plantation. They had a plantation wedding, and Blake Lively is from Los Angeles. Ryan Reynolds is Canadian, and they care so much about slavery, and they romanticize that history so much that two people who are not even from the South went to the South and had a wedding on a plantation. Like, it's a perfect example of, it's not about hiding it at all. It's right there. You can see it from all of the historical characters that we see in cartoons and TV shows are based off of the history of slavery, based off of you know what I mean? Based off of the plantation and the plantation dynamics. So I just think that that's really interesting that he said that, because it did feel like it was adding on to confusion.
Yep, and now Ryan Reynolds is worshipped by small non-white children across the planet because he's a super, super, super famous suspected racist. Super tacky. Yeah, this scene, I mean, just the imagery here of the white people serving Black people. I think even this imagery is maybe something that white people may be like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we can do that. I could do that. I don't mind doing that. I don't mind, serving Black people. It's not hard. I don't got to give up my house. I don't got to go build them my house. I don't got to go, build them a whole school. I got to hand them some dinner plates. That's not hard at all. Yeah, this is very mediocre compensation, having to be
a
waiter.
I can wear that T-shirt.
Yeah.
Plus, I would really like to know who owns the restaurant that they're sitting in. I think that's relevant. Who the white person own this restaurant? Is it owned by Black people? I mean, I've gone to black so-called Black-owned restaurants, and there's been white people serving me. I mean, doesn't change the fact that I'm still a slave.
Yeah, I mean, and even if it's
restaurant,
even if it's Black owned, who's giving those Black people the loans to even have that restaurant? Well, it's a bank owned by white people.
Yeah, and I will say that in the system of racism and white supremacy, Black people should not be just finding ourselves in these sorts of environments, like dining out, going to restaurants that often, some Waffle Houses, fancy restaurants. We should not be participating in these white things because it's not, I don't think it's constructive. And B, at any moment, a suspected racist or white supremacists could come in there and just massacre people, like happens very often, as I'm always hearing stories about. So I think it's very dangerous imagery, and black people, we're not. We're slaves, we're prisoners of war, victims of racism. So what are you going to fancy restaurants for? We save our little crumbs for something more constructive.
Wasn't it mentioned on the cows last week that it was semen in someone's salad?
Oh, I don't know if I heard on cows.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Portland.
I saw that somewhere. And then I saw poo and some chili somewhere else. So yeah, it's just more reason to avoid these places, because it's just terrible. One of the ways white people love to not love, because I don't know if that doesn't exist currently, but one of the ways white people really enjoy practicing racism is with chemical warfare, and putting your semen in someone's food or putting your feces in someone's food. That's definitely some form of chemical warfare. So
That's actually in a movie. Hold on. Let me find it, because like there was an actual scene where
The Help.
they like it's what?
The Help.
No.
I
This was
see.
like
I may have seen
comedy
American
flick.
Pie too. I may have seen American Pie, maybe the sequels or something.
Nah, well, I mean, pretty much this movie dealt with like the actual serving industry, and pretty much there was a scene in there where one of the cooks, like he got mad at one of the my fault. One of the waiters got mad at one of the people that was like asking for a certain type of food. So they asked one of the cooks to put lice in the actual food, and then a few of them took pubic hair and put it in the actual salad. So yeah, I'll find the flick, but hold on.
Oh jeez, yeah. And there's tons of it's just media, of white people sabotaging food. Like we got a South Park episode where Cartman kills a kid's parents and puts his parents' corpses in chili and serves this chili to his to the bully. And we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a whole family winning chili contest by feeding chili made of people to other white people. So yeah, a tradition definitely celebrated and amongst themselves, sabotaging food and feeding people to people.
Yeah, the film is titled "Waiting." It came out in 2005. Waiting.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it has Ryan Reynolds in it.
Of course, of course. All right, see, art is connected terroristically. Yikes. Yeah, and if we look here to the see the portrait on the wall, you'll see two black dogs, and white people have a tradition and have been known to name their black dogs nigger or similar names such that mean black people. So I don't know, something that popped out at me. And also dogs are still treated better than black people, even though they name dogs after black people. And Akan Fuyawu says from the chat, one of the rums at the bar I slave at is named Plantation from Barbados. Had the nerve to say it's translated into farm down there, and it's not the same. Wow. Wow, indeed. Wow, indeed. Yeah. Any one who just observes, really pays attention to what they're seeing on their day out, a lot of things will pop out that is like, wow, it's not super racist, or it seems like super racist, because it probably is. But in regards to this,
I was just gonna say the last thing I guess for me was I guess that bus ride. I don't know what that was. You know, with the so-called Latino male. I don't. You know, it's
Oh, I have an idea. I have an idea
you
what we.
know it seems like they're not really complaining or not really. They don't really have anything to be upset about. Um, you know, it's just another day for them, still working, happy to be going to work. Uh, I don't know, you know, a lot of things came to mind, but I can't really hone in on something specific. But I know that there's some symbolism there.
Well, what the way I saw this scene was, you know, we had a white bus driver, female, and she sees, she's aware of the current climate of, you know, the blacks getting some crumbs from the system, and then she sees the brown male, and then she's probably thinking it's only a matter of time before the browns try to, you know, get their crumbs, you know, because they have been mistreated by white people, some would say as well. So so maybe that's what the scene is hinting at. I could be wrong. You know, could be a stretch.
Did you see too that when he's talking to him, the white guy makes a joke about him being like illegal or something in Spanish? Like there was a part where
I say it was late. I don't know Spanish though.
Well, they had the subtitles, and you can see him say something like "illegal," and then the guy pretends to be offended, but then he's like, he laughs, and I was like, that's so interesting that he still has that bit of power.
And I thought this was really funny, and I wonder if I'm sure everyone caught it, but where he asked the black male for advice, and then when the moment he doesn't like what the black male is saying, it just abruptly cuts to him talking to white people, because I'm like, well, that's pretty accurate, you know, because you know, when a white person is talking to a black person, best believe that the moment that black person becomes no longer useful to that white person, they're out of there real quick. You know, they know how to exit the conversation faster than they enter one. White people, and that's what we saw there. You know, he saw, and also we see the dynamic. You know, most racist, suspected racists don't suspect that they can get learn a lot or get a lot from the average victim, because they are aware that the average victim has been, you know, severely sabotaged, you know, mentally. So yeah, I appreciate this part. It's quite hilarious. Just the abrupt cutaway. I'm just like, yeah, that's what happens literally in the system. They go to white people to get constructive help, not black people, white people. Did anyone catch that? Anyone catch this scene?
Yeah, I definitely saw that. I thought that was quite funny too, I guess. Interesting.
He already had to come down from the heavens and ask this black male for advice. So yeah, the second he said something he didn't agree with, oh, whatever. Why'd I even ask you anyway?
Yeah. I think it's I don't listen to slaves. No, this was silly. Why am I listening to this slave?
Exactly.
We go to the other white people. And since you're on this one, I thought that it was also interesting that she used the black hand.
The brown emoji,
like,
right?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh man, here we go. You know.
Yeah, because she's like Peruvian, so she could be brown now. You know, she's got to use the spicy emoji. What? Yeah,
no, no longer can, I guess, what's the word? We're not constructive, but it's no longer worth being white anymore. it's best to identify as not white.
It reminds me of when people got mad at that celebrity Ellen Pompeo, who has a black husband, because she was using black emojis whenever she was trying to be like sassy. I think maybe that might be a reference to that, when she's using the black, like that black emoji, because she's trying to like come here now, or she's either doing that or she's saying there's a black lady below you. Like I don't know, that part was that the emoji thing is interesting.
Indeed. And oh my God, we can't end the broadcast without talking about this scene right here. Oh my God, I was busting up laughing because wow, the imagery presented before us is just wow. I'm just gonna play a
the cookout. Oh yeah.
yeah, the cookout ending.
Running
well,
black male.
not ending, but the cookout having involving a black male chasing a white man. Just for me, it echoes to it's
Jesse
the
Owens.
white person. He's just exploring the what he's calling the jungle, and then he sees it's just wow. The scene echoes like just so much to me. Just a white person being chased by a black savage. To be very blunt, is what this said to me. So
It ruined
and they
reminded me.
takes his shoes off, and it's just chasing a person in a car. I don't know how many scenarios where the person.
The way he walked up and then started running reminded me of that cop in Terminator 2.
Yeah, right. He's like the Terminator. I thought that's this is exactly like supposed to be like some black Terminator. This is ridiculous imagery right here. Like, yeah, I know why people were cracking up during this scene or terrified. But yeah.
There goes the neighborhood.
Yeah, pretty literally. Yeah, definitely. There goes the neighborhood. According to Race Code Award, the value of this area is dropping tremendously by these black people being around here.
I hate to be like that person, but like, why didn't he get in a car?
Yeah, that
or even there's bikes on the floor.
No,
was it just for the imagery of him running?
That's what I was saying. I was saying, he's chasing a car on foot. You don't know any scenarios where the person on foot is gonna catch the car, but it's just to show that imagery, because the racist mind and maybe even some of the less confused mind are gonna pick up on wow, are they presenting this just the silly black savage chasing the technologically advanced civilized man. Of course the wild man on foot will not catch the guy on this advanced machinery known as a car. But I'm maybe just reaching again.
No, I agree, that makes sense to me.
And he is he's barefoot, he's also barefoot, so it's just super refined imagery right here. Donald Glover and the folks behind this show, they know how to put on a show for white people, as many of us do.
Yeah, this is for sure a white nightmare, pulling up and seeing all those Negroes on your front lawn in your neighborhood. Wow.
Brandon Williams says chased out of the cookout, so like the opposite of the invited to the cookout. Yeah. So, oh yeah, and this part, just the white tears, non-white people should not feel sorry for white people at all. They're not victims of racism, white supremacy. Actually, they're the sole reason for racism and white supremacy being here. So Yeah. White tears are a tool often used against us to deceive us. We got to be super wary of white tears and not be fooled by them ever again.
It's not personal, it's business.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
It's a very mild curse too. Like he doesn't really seem psychologically that damaged from it. Mostly just more frustrated by his living situation. But like I don't really see the curse affecting him in terms of how he actually views his family's history or anything like that.
Yeah. And I also think in the beginning the show is trying to present him as like as a possibly non-racist white person by just showing him showing that small courtesy to his black male. We're supposed to think that it's just a regular white person. He's not. We have no reason to believe he is a racist, except we do because he's classified as white in the first place. But most non-white people are not thinking in this manner. So I think yeah, we're supposed to not think this person is a racist, but he's being treated like a racist. So we're supposed to have more sympathy for him.
And the interesting part about the people that Donald Glover is the white people that he's specifically trying to show in the couple of seasons, they're like these kind of white people who listen to like NPR, because he was listening to Radiolab, which is like an NPR show. It seems like he drives like some sort of like a Prius or something. He is in that kind of hipster-ish cafe, similar to the white people in the first episode. The white women who were like kind of hipster-ish, liberally looking white women. Very interesting because I feel like those are the people that he would be around the most. So I think it's interesting that those are the white people that he is highlighting in like all of these episodes so far. Even the previous one when they were in London.
That's a good observation. Like they're the I guess maybe they're liberal. The liberals are the ones being cursed because they just want to be allies so bad.
Yeah, and because just that's Donald Glover got us all using these terms. I mean, yeah, let's look up what does curse mean. Let's get to some definition. Because there's a movie, a movie actually recently was released, and the movie's called Curse, and it's about a bunch of dark creatures terrorizing a bunch of white people. So I think curse is just code for darkness, but let's see what it means. Curse, a solemn utterance intended to evoke a supernatural power to inflict harm or punishment or on someone or something. An offensive word or phrase used to express anger or annoyance. Invoke or use a curse against other offensive words, anger. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, with this definition, yeah. Well, I don't know if I can apply any logic with this definition and with Donald Glover is saying, but
I mean, who put the curse on white people then?
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think if anyone is so-called cursed, it's definitely non-white people. I don't know if it's. I don't think. I'm not gonna say we're cursed because it says here. Let me put it on the screen again that it's like supernatural, and I don't think white people are a supernatural power. I think they're awesome power, yes, but I don't know what supernatural. I don't know what that means. So yeah, I think if anyone's been cursed, it's been victims of racism by white people who are maintaining the system of racism, white supremacy. So yeah, again, massive confusion.
Yeah, I'm
Thinking
reading the etymology of it. It says Middle English, to wish evil to, and then to excommunicate. Another one was late Old English, a prayer that evil or harm befall one, consignment of a person to an evil fate. So that's in the
Oh,
etymology dictionary.
interesting. All right, and yeah, I would say we're that definition definitely still applies to non-white people more than white people, because we have definitely been trained and led to do a number of things that are downright evil, grotesque, and just should not be happening on planet Earth. But yeah.
It seems like he's implying, I could be an error that Black people have cursed white people, which I think is absolutely inaccurate. I could be wrong. Like he said, who cursed white people? For Black people to do that, they would need to have power.
Oh wow. Okay, so the movie Curse. I mean, let me get this movie on the screen. So this film here, actually, oh, and there's so many. I think it's one that came out recently. All right, so in this film, what happens is that a bunch of white people, they want a bunch of non-white people to leave their plot of land, and non-white people are like, nah, we're not gonna leave. And the white people are like, all right. And then they come to their plot of land, they're like, okay, we're gonna give you one more chance to leave. And they're like, nah, we're not gonna leave. And the white people massacre all the people. They and brutally, one guy, they chop his hands off and his feet off, and then they place hay where his severed limbs are, and they make a scarecrow out of him, and then they just brutally murder everyone else. And because of their horrific actions against those people, a curse is created, because one of those people, one of the non-white people, places a curse on them and their dreams and that their whole line or whatever. But white people definitely solve that problem anyway. So yeah, well, I don't think it's just really interesting. And white people are, yeah, this supernatural element, while very, very interesting, I think it's just an area that can confuse us, can even lead us to area 7 religion, which is super confusing already. So, but still interesting to discuss. And because Donald Glover mentioned it, I guess we, makes sense that we are discussing it. Yeah, but many white people have described whiteness in that manner, like it's something that they have to wear with, like, it's just so hard being white. What they call it, the white man's burden sometimes, because it's hard to dominate the planet. You gotta kill a lot of people. It takes a lot of energy to kill a lot of people. I'm not saying I'm sad about it, but I'm tired.
They can't rest. They can't rest. It's like they're putting themselves in the minds of non-white people and what white people would do if they were to endure what they've made non-white people globally historically endure. If that were them, white people aren't having that. They will kill and slaughter each other. So, they're like I've done all these things to these non-white people. Like, goodness, like when is my time coming? The cost of conducting white supremacy is getting too high. Too many non-white people are wanting this thing called justice. I can't rest. You know, if I blink, you know, but you know, non-white people, how many times in your lifetime have you been tired? I mean, just tired, and you just had to keep going. And now look at white people. When have you ever seen white people just tired, just exhausted? You've never seen that. And, you know, I think we're looking at the beginning stages of white people getting tired. Like it's too much. It's gonna come. I don't think that it's a coincidence that the 9 areas of activity are in alphabetical order, and you know the 9th area is what it is. But that's just me.
Yeah, but I don't know what is a greater motivation, you know, being tired or being dedicated, you know, because you know we have white people have proven to be super dedicated, you know, rain or snow, something else, but I don't know what the other portion is. But rain or snow, white people are gonna do what needs to be done. What is
Sleet
it?
or snow? Rain, sleet, or snow.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was sleep. I don't know what sleet is, but rain, sleet, the white people are gonna do what they need to do to practice this business of racism and white supremacy. So I think that's dedication. And yeah, I don't tired, perhaps very, very paranoid. Also something that what you're saying, Ray, made me think that maybe they're just super, super paranoid that you know, I wonder, are some of them that confused that they think, you know, that we're planning something that we are trying, that many of us are, you know, trying to, you know, solve this problem? Because from my point of view, I don't think white people have anything to worry about for a very long time. Uh, the way this business, their business is churning out confusion by just the kilos. So
But they wouldn't make it where they were without having that paranoia.
The beginning podcast section, and then so you said they would have made it where they were without the paranoia.
It's like when you watch those, you know, like in The Godfather, every Godfather movie, it's always somebody in his circle who betrays him. Like, I think that you can't make it to that amount of power without being suspicious of everything and everyone. Because if you let your guard down just a bit, you may lose. So I think that's how they got to where they are, is to have that really, really strong paranoia. And that's why they were fighting each other for so long before they were even meeting non-white people.
They created the element of surprise, so they have to be on their toes at all times, always. You know, how many times have we heard, you know, through the histories of of white people sneaking up on people when they're unsuspecting, when they're asleep, when their back is turned. They're doing this to non-white
with their
people.
pants down.
Yeah. Please. Get what? Yeah. Game recognized game.
That's what they would do with the Native Americans, right? They would pretend to have a battle and then draw the men and then go back to where the women and children were and old people and kill all of them. Like that you can't do that type of stuff without having an intense amount of paranoia to be able to connive of such evil acts.
Yeah, and just being super just wow. You just really don't care about people, huh? You just kill people just like nothing. That's weird. You kind of weird white racist person. That's super bizarre that you could just end existences of people and just, you know, wake up and drink coffee and, you know, wake up and sign documents saying that you own the area where you just slaughtered millions of non-white people. Just very bizarre. And I just really and understanding that when enough non-white people understand this, that white people are really gonna have some questions to answer. They're gonna have a lot of killing to do Because we're gonna need justice, or we're gonna need us to not, one of us to no longer be on this planet, because we're not gonna have this going on till infinity and beyond, which is what they want. But nah, it's non-white people collectively need to develop a mentality where we're not gonna allow that to happen, because super tacky. It's so whack. We have this whole planet and we're not even like flying, non-toxic vehicles yet. We're still driving, cars that are killing the planets. In a system of justice, we have, way more constructive stuff happening on the planet. But because we're on a system of white supremacy, we still have people dying every single day in giant boxes known as cars. Super weird, super whack, super primitive, if you ask me. What else? What else is there to discuss here from this episode? Yeah, I don't know if I have any more notes about this episode. This episode is a small indication of what it means to be white, and it means that you're in a system of racism and white supremacy, and you have a responsibility to help non-white people solve the race problem. You shouldn't be doing anything else other than that. Yeah.
You definitely do. I just caught a little symbolism on that scene right there. If you read that address backwards, that seems a little personal, wouldn't you think?
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And also, I did catch. If you want to get into some more symbolism, I caught. For this, if you see it, you see it. If you don't, we're not even gonna mention it. But if you know, I leave it at that. But I will share with another thing I caught him coming out of his building. So. I see 69, and 5. I think this adds up to 20, but I don't know much about numerology to make much of that. But when I saw this 69, I'm like, that looks like kind of like the yin and yang sign, The yin and yang sign is supposed to represent some sort of balance or duality. So that's all I came to mind. There's no balance on planet Earth right now, but that's what came to mind. I'm sure there's more that can be.
I saw just two, reading Race Code more. Obviously, the coffee in the beginning, and the newer pages talking about white people dressing up in black and then consuming coffee. He's dressed in all black, consuming coffee. First thing he does, to gain his power. And then when he's at his wife's house, picking up her kid, all of the row of white houses, another one in the scene, while he's talking to her, the way that the camera's angled, it just seems like a row of white houses, white homes, racism, white supremacy. This is where the racists stay. Also from Race Code War. That's some symbolism I saw.
Yeah, when I was doing some skimming, this is I think, third episode, maybe fourth, but third for sure, that we've seen or heard a white lady crying, white woman crying. Deception, white tears from racist man and racist woman. They should make us better eye. We should see a white person crying or suspected racist crying and think to ourselves, can't be worse than being classified as black. And keep it pushing, to our plantation or wherever place we are milling to. Yeah, but that's kind of what he did. He didn't pay no mind. He didn't ask what's wrong or nothing. He just kept going. So yeah, we should be like him in this scene. You just ignore white women crying. Just go about our constructive business.
Because she knows that BMW is about to be taken away. That's why she's crying in front of a car like that.
Yeah. Yeah. We can get her on the screen again. Okay. All right. Any final comments folks wanna?
This was a very constructive business meeting. I'm thoroughly looking forward to the next. Yeah, lots of great insight from everyone, different points of view, all leading towards solving this problem.
Feel the same. Feel the same.
I agree.
I originally, watching this episode, I thought, wow, I really like this episode. I like how Donald Glover is talking about racism, and as we sit here and decode it, it's just some more confusion. So I'm glad I have the opportunity to decode it with others. Hopefully, we can stop doing this soon when the system has finally been replaced with a system of justice. Hopefully tomorrow. But if not, I guess looking forward to the next one.
So something caught my eye, which is this, and just how we see here, a backwards image. It's kind of how the world operates. Everything is is backwards, primitive. It's not as it should be, and yeah, in a lot of areas it seems that we are going backwards in a way in regards of our thinking, and because that could be racist women design. I saw a fellow victim of racism make a point that he sees TikTok. He sees that he made a really excellent point. I'm just gonna try to paraphrase that. TikTok is like infantile, like making babies out of people. Like it's causing so-called adults to behave like babies. And I'm like, I can see that with all the content being produced by adults where they're making baby sounds or wearing baby stuff or just behaving like children. So yeah, there's some logic to be put out of this rambling here, but a very, very constructive business meeting. Yeah, if we are begging for reparations, as we should, we have to beg for everything in the system, but when we're begging for reparations, we have to be thinking about housing, education, and health, and just so there's no confusion, and food, and quality nutritious food, because money, white people print that, control that, but having a place to exist in and to think in is what a lot of non-white people do not have never had for thousands of years, perhaps, because white people have kept us on the run and racially dislocated for a very, very long time. So when we talk about and think about reparations, that's what we should think about. Not money, not anything that has been given to us in the form of this show or in the form of Dave Chappelle's reparations escapades on his show. We have to be very logical and serious. Yeah, but that's my closing. I'll see what other folks want to share. Okay, I think folks have already shared who wanted to. Alrighty. Well, it's 19 minutes till the next day. So I'm gonna read the revolutionary daily quote for the 9th of April, and then we're gonna close out because I'm pretty sure it's the 9th for somebody in this broadcast. So they're gonna do it. And again, this is from Mawali Mukaber Rudy, Nayan Saysam, a calendar of revolutionary daily thoughts. And I suspect just like every time I read one of these, it's gonna definitely connect to the subject matter. You're definitely gonna have to codify it though, because it's from a what has been called a African-centered perspective, a lot of it. So you're gonna have to codify it and replace African with universal man or victim, whatever. Okay, so this is from the 9th. The psychology of becoming free is contingent upon understanding the slave-making process. The psychology of becoming free requires the reverse of the slave-making process, Jawanza Kanjufu. We have to remember that reversing the slave-making process entails more than just a knowledge of self. It requires reversing what happened to us in its entirety. So know that we cannot just reverse one part of this horrific experience and consider our work done. We must reverse the process as it impacted us in all areas, in all institutions, family, religion, politics, education, economics, and military. Therefore, logically, we could not just build monetary wealth to the point of equality with oppressors by itself. That would not suffice for the severe deficits in our families, educational institutions, or military. None alone will suffice. They must all be claimed and built together. A people do not develop their institutions unevenly. Each needs to work of the other because they are of one mind and exert a common force. Affirm, I have reversed the slave making process. And thanks everyone in the chat for their participation. CRWS signing out.